Hello, and welcome to today's Fpweb.net webinar about secure virtual desktops. My name is Dan Pinkley, an infrastructure engineer here at Fpweb. I'm here with John Thompson, who is the security and infrastructure architect here at Fpweb.net. JT and I will be covering the ins and outs about Security VDI. Before we get started, I'd like to let everybody know to please feel free to submit questions anytime during this process, and we'll answer as many questions as we can at the end of this webinar. We also have a $50 excuse me, Amazon gift card giveaway, which we will announce at the end of the webinar as well. Okay, so we have a little poll here that we would like to do. If you guys could please select what role you play in your organization. All right, looks like we got some pretty good information here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So, JT, can you start off by explaining to us what Secure VDI is?
Sure. A generic or general definition of VDI, or virtual desktop infrastructure, is the practice of hosting desktop operating systems within a virtual machine running on a centralized server. VDI is a variation of a client-server computing model, sometimes referred to as server-based computing. Essentially, this process allows for secure remote compute with ease of access and ease of use. As if this is your personal laptop tucked away safely in a data center, Secure VDI significantly mitigates security risk by being 100% contained within your protected network.
So, when you say that Secure VDI significantly mitigates the security risks by being contained within your protected network, can you explain what you were talking about in a bit more depth?
Sure. This process, by placing virtual desktop machines within the protected network, allows for a controlled and managed remote workforce. Secure access is accomplished by a clientless encrypted connection, or commonly referred to as a VPN or VPN tunnel. This encryption allows a remote user to be on a public Wi-Fi and still maintain a secure and encrypted end-to-end connection. Secure access can also be created for enterprise applications, ERP systems, and basically any traditional client-server application you may use in your environment today. This is accomplished by creating the virtual machines within the same secure environment where the supporting application servers reside. This not only provides a 100% secure access environment, but also speaks to performance and much improved access speeds. Essentially, the desktop instance being used is on the same LAN segment, like the server, treating this connection more like a LAN environment versus a WAN environment.
Okay. And as far as devices and points of access, what are the restrictions or limitations, if any?
This is pretty wide open. This generation of SVDI works with all form factors: Mac, PC, Android, and iOS devices, allowing for a diversity in remote workforces. This architecture also secures all communication between the end device and the virtual desktop instance. With users in corporate environments becoming increasingly more independent, this makes it difficult for IT administrators to manage security, application settings, and also endpoint network access.
Okay, so it sounds like you're talking about like a BYOD type situation. So can you explain BYOD environments and how this can improve upon that?
Sure. BYOD stands for Bring Your Own Device. This can be a personal device, that a user owns, such as a phone, a laptop, PC, and so forth. Or it can be a device provided by the company, or a user-owned device. Again, either way. The benefit to this is that it greatly increases the ease of deployment and management of security. In these cases, no data is cached to the local machine or end-user machine, and you can force session duration timeouts. By design, there's no data or files that are stored or transferred to the end-user device, meaning if using a laptop or a tablet, there's no concern of sensitive data or files being transferred to the user's personal device. This is a great strength of the product, and it relates directly to regulatory stances, when you're talking about HIPAA, PCI, and HIPAA-related PHI.
Okay, so it sounds like this service is pretty simple and effective. It aligns directly with regulated or sensitive data industries such as healthcare and financial organizations by adhering to managed access compliances. So with SVDI, how can you truly manage to access to meet the compliance standards for these industries?
Good question. Primarily in these cases, we utilize Active Directory as the authentication vehicle and services to be able to audit and measure user permissions and functions. User log on and log off times and session duration are still captured by their Active Directory user object, allowing for full audit capability for all users' access, dates and times. And these SVDI users and groups can be joined to your existing Active Directory environment or created as new, as both are supported. And the Active Directory part of this is a key element that is enforced by leveraging unique credentials for each one of the remote users. By placing those user objects into specific security groups, this is the same process for providing access to the SVDI environment. And the file and/or folder structure permissions are aligned the same way. Active Directory group policies enforce unique multi-factor authentication. Not only just by username and password, but also by a multi-factor authentication. This process sends a text message or makes a phone call to the user. This then requires input from the user to complete the logon process over their desired method of authentication. For example, this is a process typically associated with password resets today, in a way where a second communication will be sent to an email or SMS message to complete the security-related changes. We've implemented this process for existing environments today, mostly around remote server access.
Okay, so it sounds like the combination of secure Active Directory user groups and the multi-factor authentication would mitigate the chance of any non-authorized user access and or username and password sharing. It also speaks to the fraud protection piece, so the users are able to alert their administrators if there are unauthorized attempts or enough logon failures occur, the administrator and user are both alerted. So each of these SVDI machines are 100% virtual, including the user file and directory structure. Can you explain that in a bit more detail?
Sure. The information that's stored during these active sessions truly is 100% deleted upon logging out. This is enforced by a local security policy, again, baked into Active Directory. And it's applied at the server level, and it's built in a way that the end users don't have the ability to alter that. So it helps with the security and ensures that there's no change in the policy. This process ensures that any and all data, either gathered as cookies, browser data, temp files, such as creating or editing documents, are 100% deleted when the user ends their session. By creating these security rules, you are ensuring that no user will be able to log on to another session and be able to view or edit anyone else's content, that's also as part of this SVDI managed access.
Okay, so as far as access is concerned, what type of access or how much freedom would the end user get in their actual desktop session?
Secure VDI, it still allows for some personality adjustments in the desktop. Essentially, what you have is your own personal desktop, and the users have the ability to set up background images of their choice, set and manage shortcuts on the desktop for frequently used applications, files, or folders. The same applies to which applications can be run or installed on these environments. The general practice is to have an agreed-upon desktop design or build that includes all the applications required for the individual user. And by design, this doesn't allow the user the administrative capability to add or remove non-approved applications.
Okay, so you just talked about the applications and desktop customization. What about access outside of the SVDI, like browsing the web or things like that?
This part of it often speaks to productivity concerns and overall security. Given the secure environment in which these virtual instances are created, the ability to easily control what these devices can access on the public internet becomes a management feature as well. An example would be to simply limit internet access to specific work-related sites and not allow non-work-related sites such as social media and other more recreational-driven content. Again, this process, conjoined with multi-factor authentication, continues to focus on security.
Okay. Last but definitely not least, what makes Fpweb.net the place to go for this service? Like, what sets us apart from the rest of the competition out there?
Great. We've engineered this service and application, out of necessity. As client access environments continue to expand locally and across the globe, the challenge becomes increasingly more complex to provide secure and consistent digital workspace. What makes Fpweb the leader in this service is that we have not only developed a solution for client-based consumption, but this is something that is used by Fpweb and has had an amazing impact on both security and productivity. We are 100% dedicated to improving upon security and ease of access to easily extend and manage workforces, whether they reside under the same roof or they're halfway around the world. Our security practices and infrastructure, coupled with our absolute support, is what truly makes an already amazing product even better.
Sounds good. So if anyone is interested, how can they get more information about SVDI after the webinar?
We'll be sending out a link to all the registered participants today with the recording of this particular webinar, along with demo instructions in the process to gain access to these SVDI devices from a demo perspective.
Okay. So you can also go to Fpweb.net/VDI to get started. Or if you have any other questions that we may have not covered in today's materials, you can contact us at 866-780-4678 or also at sales@Fpweb.net. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we've got another poll for you guys. So who here works in an industry where security is a really important part of your data, you know, whether you're in like a financial industry or healthcare or anything like that, you might have certain regulations you need to follow. Okay, so we got some pretty good information here. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the floor to the Q&A portion of the webinar. Again, please feel free to submit any questions that you may have. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Looks like the first question we have is, what is the turnaround time for a handful of virtual desktops?
Devices are truly on-demand type devices. They're virtual and available, so they're available on demand. Typically, it's a 24-hour turnaround for a standard off-the-shelf device. If there's something more involved where you want to couple those to an existing AD environment and existing users and such, that takes a few more days. That's more of a 48 to 72-hour turnaround, but still, easy to deploy and easy to manage.
Okay. All right. So it looks like the next one would be, so what is the pricing model look like for what is included?
These devices, this service is truly a subscription-based, and Fpweb provides Secure VDI for $90 per user per month. This includes unlimited access, to that device on a per-user basis, and the desktop instance includes Office, out of the box anyway, Office 2013 Professional and Internet access.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Looks like the next question is, which virtual service does Fpweb.net use for this? VMware, Citrix, Microsoft, any of those?
Sure. We at Fpweb are a Microsoft partner, and therefore we've leveraged Microsoft's RDS product for these services. This is something that matured in Server 2012 as of late, and it's proven to be, as solid as we need it to be, and as we continue to roll out upon that platform. So.
All right. Again, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them at any time. We've got a few more minutes here. Looks like the next question is, how well does this work on mobile platforms?
Actually, this works very well on mobile platforms. This is one of the reasons we arrived at this product. In recent months, Microsoft has re-released the application. In this case, it's the remote desktop application. So that it works really well on all platforms, including Android, iPhone, Mac, and PC, like we discussed. And through tons of testing, even internally, all of us have, as you'd expect, different machine and form factor types, and we've had great success with all of them. So fantastic with mobile, tablets, any of the above. We've had great success.
Yeah, I can personally attest to that. I have had both Android and iPhone since we've rolled this out here and not had a single issue on either one of those. So it's pretty fantastic.
Right. One thing I'll add to that, anecdotally, from an administrator's perspective, everybody uses it. Internally here at Fpweb, as we manage and do other infrastructures that we do administer, those who use it utilize this product every single day, whether they were in the office or out of the office. So it just becomes that dependable.
Yeah. All right. Looks like the next question is, how is this different from big box providers?
That is a good question. We've walked down this path quite a ways to understand what it is in the big box providers put out for this type of product, and it doesn't seem to be that there's one that's exactly the same. We've built these really to meet demand of our clients' needs, and they're tailored to those needs. So therefore, in this case, you get an actual desktop that's essentially your own, and get to work from that. Well, another part of this, while we envision as an end result a few thousand instances of this SVDI, that is not the only design criteria around and deployment criteria around this. We continue to make this a more personal user experience, and the same thing with absolute support. If there's questions or issues, you can literally call our support desk and you get a live person, a live body on the line, and we immediately move to solutions. So those are the things that help continue to separate us from the other big box providers in this space and others. So.
All right. All right, guys, it looks like we're going to wrap this up. We're running out of time here. We've got our next webinar. It is SharePoint Admin Support. It's 1 p.m. Central Time on August 30th. Also, we will get to the Amazon gift card winner. It looks like Lee Nichols is the lucky winner today.
Woo!
So thank you guys again for joining. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us at any time. We'd be more than happy to help. You can reach us at 866-780-4678 or at sales@fpweb.net, or even visiting the website at fpweb.net/VDI.